Hi everyone, welcome to another First Chapter Friday. I can't believe that I haven't read this book already to you. And it is one that's been turned to a Netflix movie. It has a small cult following. We did a Read, Rant, Repeat show on it. And without further ado, the book is To All the Boys I've Loved Before by Jenny Han. More recently, Jenny Han has another series called The Summer I Turned Pretty that was turned to a Netflix show too. So these books must be pretty good to get all that book adaptation coverage. All right. I like to save things. Not important things like whales or people or the environment. Silly things. Porcelain bells, the kind that you get at a souvenir shop. Cookie cutters that you'll never use because who needs a cookie in the shape of a foot? Ribbons for my hair. Love letters. And of all things I save, I guess you could say my love letters are my most prized possession. I keep my letters in a teal hat box that my mom bought me from a vintage store downtown. They aren't love letters that someone else wrote for me. I don't have any of those. These are ones that I've written. There's one for every boy I've ever loved. 5 in all. When I write, I hold nothing back. I write like he'll never read it, because he never will. Every secret thought, every careful observation, everything I've saved up inside of me, I put it all in the letter. When I'm done, I seal it, I address it, and then I put it in my teal hat box. They're not love letters in the strictest sense of the word. My letters are for when I don't want to be in love anymore. They're for goodbye, because after I write my letter, I'm no longer consumed by my all-consuming love. I can eat my cereal and not wonder if he likes bananas over his Cheerios too. I can sing along to love songs and not be singing them to him. If love is like a possession, maybe my letters are like my exorcisms. My letters set me free, or at least they're supposed to. Chapter 1. Josh is Margo's boyfriend, but I guess you could say my whole family's a little in love with him. It's hard to say who most of all. Before he was Margo's boyfriend, he was just Josh. He was always there. I say always, but I guess that's not true. He moved next door 5 years ago, but it feels like always. My dad loves Josh because he's a boy, and my dad is surrounded by girls. I mean it. All day long, he is surrounded by females. My dad is an OBGYN, and he also happens to be the father of 3 daughters. So it's like girls, girls, girls all day. He also likes Josh because Josh likes comics, and he'll go fishing with him. My dad tried to take us fishing once, and I cried when my shoes got mud on them, and Margo cried when her book got wet, and Kitty cried because, well, Kitty was still practically a baby. Kitty loves Josh because he'll play cards with her and not get bored, or at least pretend not to get bored. They make deals with each other. If I win this hand, you have to make me a toasted, crunchy peanut butter sandwich. No crust. That's Kitty. Inevitably, there won't be a crunchy peanut butter, and Josh will say, too bad, pick something else. But then Kitty will wear him down, and he'll run out and buy some, because that's just Josh. If I had to say why Margo loves him, I think maybe I would say it's because we all do. We are all in the living room. Kitty is pasting pictures of dogs to a giant piece of cardboard. There is paper and scraps all around her. Humming to herself, she says, "When Daddy asks me for what I want for Christmas, I'm just going to say, pick any one of these breeds, and we'll be good." Margo and Josh are on the couch. I'm lying on the floor watching TV. Josh popped a big bowl of popcorn, and I devoted myself to it, handfuls and handfuls of it. A commercial comes on for a perfume. A girl is running around the streets of Paris in an orchid-colored halter dress that is thin as a tissue paper. What I wouldn't give to be that girl in a tissue paper dress running around Paris in springtime. I sit up so suddenly I choke on a kernel of popcorn. Between coughs I say, Margo, let's meet in Paris for my spring break. I'm already picturing myself twirling with a pistachio macaroon in one hand and a raspberry one in another. Margot's eyes light up. Do you think Dad will let you? Sure, it's culture. He'll have to let me. But it's true that I've never flown by myself before, and also I've never even left the country before. Would Margo meet me at the airport, or would I have to find my own way to the hostel? Josh must see the sudden worry on my face because he says, Don't worry, your dad'll definitely let you go if I'm with you. I brighten. Yeah, we can stay at hostels and just eat pastries and cheese for all our meals. We can go to Jim Morrison's grave, Josh throws in. We can go to a parfumerie and get our personal scents done. I cheer, and Josh snorts. I'm pretty sure getting our scents done at a parfumerie would cost the same as a week's stay at a hostel, he says. He nudges Margo. Your sister suffers from delusions of grandeur. She is the fanciest of the three of us. Margo agrees. What about me? Kitty whimpers. You? I scoff. You're the least fancy song girl. I have to beg you to wash your feet at night, much less take a shower. Kitty's face gets pinched and red. I wasn't talking about that, you dodo bird. I was talking about Paris. Airily, I wave at her. You are too little to stay at a hostel. She crawls over to Margo and climbs in her lap, even though she's 9, and 9 is too big to sit in people's laps. Margo, you'll let me go, won't you? Maybe it could be a family vacation, Margo says, kissing her cheek. You and Lara Jean and Daddy could all come. I frown. That's not at all the Paris trip that I was imagining. Over Kitty's head, Josh mouths to me, We'll talk later, and I give him a discreet thumbs up. It's later that night. Josh is long gone. Kitty and our dad are asleep. We're in the kitchen. Margo is at the table on her computer. I'm sitting next to her, rolling cookie dough into balls and dropping them in cinnamon and sugar. Snickerdoodles to get back in Kitty's good graces. Earlier, when I went to say goodnight, Kitty just rolled over and wouldn't speak to me because she's still convinced I'm going to try to cut her out of the Paris trip. My plan is to put the snickerdoodles on a plate next to her pillow so she wakes up to the smell of fresh-baked cookies. Margot's being extra quiet, and then, out of nowhere, she looks up from her computer and says, I broke up with Josh tonight, after dinner. My cookie dough ball falls out of my fingers and into the sugar bowl. I mean, it was time, she says. Her eyes aren't red-rimmed. She hasn't been crying, I don't think. Her voice is calm and even. Anyone looking at her would think that she was fine, because Margo is always fine, even when she's not. I don't see why you had to break up, I say. Just because you're going to college doesn't mean you have to break up. Lara Jean, I'm going to Scotland, not UVA. St. Andrews is nearly 4,000 miles away. She pushes up her glasses. What would be the point? I can't believe she would even say that. The point is, it's Josh. Josh, who loves you more than any boy has ever loved a girl. Margo rolls her eyes at this. She thinks I'm being dramatic, but I'm not. It's true. That's how much Josh loves Margo. He would never even look at another girl. Suddenly she says, Do you know what Mommy told me once? What? For a minute, I forget all about Josh, because no matter what I'm doing in life, if Margo and I are in the middle of an argument, if I'm about to get hit by our car, I will always stop and listen to a story about Mommy. Any detail, any remembrance that Margo has, I want to have it too. I'm better off than Kitty, though. Kitty doesn't have one memory of Mommy that we haven't given her. We've told her so many stories, so many times, that they're hers now. Remember the time? She'll say, and then she'll tell the story like she was there and not just a little baby. She told me to try not to go to college with a boyfriend. She said she didn't want me to be the girl crying on the phone with her boyfriend and saying no to things instead of yes. Scotland is Margo's yes, I guess. Absently, I scoop up a mound of cookie dough and pop it in my mouth. You shouldn't eat raw cookie dough, Margo says. I ignore her. Josh would never hold you back from anything. He is not like that. Remember how you decided to run for student body president? He was your campaign manager. He is your biggest fan. At this, the corners of Margo's mouth turn down, and I get up and I fling my arms around her neck. She leans her head back and smiles up at me. I'm okay, she says, but she isn't. I know she isn't. It's not too late, you know. You can go over there right now and tell him you changed your mind. Margo shakes her head. It's done, Lara Jean. I release her, and she closes her laptop. When will the first batch be ready? I'm hungry. I look at the magnetic egg timer on the fridge. 4 more minutes, I say, and I sit down. I don't care what you say, Margo. You guys aren't done. You love him too much. She shakes her head. Lara Jean, she begins in her patient Margo voice, like I'm a child and she's a wise old woman of 42. I wave a spoonful of cookie dough under Margo's nose, and she hesitates and opens her mouth. I feed it to her like a baby. Wait, you see, you and Josh will be back together in a day or two. But even as I'm saying it, I know it's not true. Margo's not the kind of girl to break up and get back together on a whim. Once she's decided something, that's it. There's no waffling, there's no regrets. It's like she said, when she's done, she's just done. I wish, and this is a thought I have had so many times too many times to count, I was more like Margo, because sometimes it feels like I'll never be done. Later, after I've washed the dishes and plated the cookies and set them on Kitty's pillow, I go to my room. I don't turn the light on. I go to my window. Josh's light is still on. So obviously this is a romance. I mean, look, loved in the title. And then Josh is a character who is one of our many young men that Lara Jean's interested in. But it truly gets very exciting in a couple of chapters when Kitty does the unthinkable and shares all those letters that she wrote. So not a real big spoiler. That is the whole plot of the book, and it says it right on the cover too, or the back of the cover. But yeah, it's comical, it's relatable. Everyone has siblings that do irritating things. It may be also relatable with the family dynamics. They're coping with the loss of their mom and trying to be the best siblings they can be for each other. It's a great book. It's a great series. It was worthy to be turned to a Netflix. So hope you check it out, read the whole thing, and I'll maybe do the Some Might Turn Pretty in a future episode. Thanks for watching.